I have cats and dogs and dragons watching this channel now. I think by the end of this day, I'll have some cows and some ducks as well. Because minutes ago, Nancy Pelosi introduced another bill, like anyone ever pays attention to these bills she's introducing. But it's the congressional budget bill, which we thought was not an issue. We had heard that Nancy and Steve had reached an agreement. Well, apparently they've not. And she introduced this bill to prevent the government shutdown on September 30th. Yeah, that date as well. And it did not have any money in there for farmers. Added to another group of people she's pissing off. Just, no money for farmers. Well, Mitch McConnell slammed back, and he says this is just typical Nancy Pelosi. She wants to give you stimulus. She doesn't want to give any money for farmers. She doesn't want to give any money for dairy farmers, but she expects to have $12 ice cream. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is LALATE, and I'm here, you're here, and let's pull up a scoop of ice cream. Hopefully it's not $12, but a government shutdown is among the new items up for bid today on The Price is Right, as you know, we can't have enough crazy stuff to deal with. This video is about rent. Let me get to the incredible details on a day in which there's a lot of great stuff going on. This is stimulus check afternoons. Afternoons, LALATE starts every day at 3:30 with the check, then goes to hazard pay, then FPUC, and finally rent. And boy, it's been an incredible run. This morning's video was the most watched ever on this channel. It is still the most watched in the time frame in which it has been live. So if you're not subscribed to this channel, you need to subscribe. Go to the Funnest channel, subscribe, and drop your comments below. Also hit the alert button when you subscribe. This channel is now the net's most watched stimulus channel for a reason. I do a lot of videos in a day on a different subject matter. Every video is a different subject matter, but I do update the situation from the morning to the afternoon to the evening. This video is about rent aid, rent evictions, mortgage forbearance. No one's going into this detail for you every single day. And if you're having problems with your rent, if you're having problems with your mortgage, if you're having problems with your eviction, this is the video you need to watch on a day in which there's a lot of great news. All right, let's get to the great news. The breaking news is that there's a push to get a vote on a bill, a second stimulus package bill that has rent aid in it for you. Finally. And the president is behind it. Are you serious? Yes, the president's behind a bill which has rent aid in it, which we have never seen from the president, and we've never seen from Republicans. And he's telling the Republicans, get this signed. Ironically, Republicans and Democrats, who are both in the House and the Senate, are behind the bill. Which is the bill? It's the problem solvers bill. But they want to add a little bit more to it, but it's the problem solvers bill. And in there is rent aid. Finally. It also has in there eviction moratoriums and mortgage forbearance, and done in a better way than where we are currently. I'll get to the details of the bill, all those three things, rent aid, mortgage, and eviction, right away. Next, I'll go over time frame for you, because it's very important to understand how time frames are different for eviction moratoriums versus the aid. And then next, I will go over some of your incredible 222 comments from yesterday's video and a new report that talks about the importance of rent aid right away. All right, let's get to the details. Rent aid, eviction moratorium, and mortgage forbearance are all different, so I'm going to explain to you the difference of them. Rent aid is money to pay your rent. It's money that the federal government would have provide to you, but it wouldn't go into directly to you. It would go from you to your landlord. Basically, what you would do is you provide the federal government through an agency that's set up for this program, the name of your landlord, the way you would normally make a check payable, and the name of your utility company, and the federal government would pay your landlord the rent for you for a certain number of months. You wouldn't have to deal with the actual paying the check yourself. It would go right to the landlord. This is incredible, great relief. This is the relief you need for people who can't make rent. Now, it's not for everyone. It's for people who are at certain economic levels. So, if you're able to buy $12 ice cream and you're driving around with nice new rims that look like a lobster, lobster ribs, then you may not need Rent 8. But it's for people who don't have lobster ribs. So that rent aid is really a great relief. It's a great relief because you can't just have eviction moratoriums, because what happens is once the moratorium's over, you're evicted because you have no rent. You have no money for rent. All right, what's an eviction moratorium? Eviction moratorium means you cannot be evicted. I thought we had one. Well, we do, but it's not good. It's not well done. It's a CDC order. It's in the description of this video. You can go click the link and follow it and see what you got to do. But it doesn't cover everyone. It's very narrow. It's a little confusing. And finally, mortgage forbearance. That protects you from having foreclosure upon you by your bank. If you rent your home, if you have a mortgage against your home, or you have a mortgage against your apartment building or something like that. Now, there is a mortgage moratorium for federally backed mortgages right now, but there's not one for private mortgages. So if you have a mortgage with a bank, just a normal bank, then you don't have the protections right now. That's why you need this. Okay, so 3 things. We got that. Where are these? This is so exciting. They are in the Problems Solvers bill, a bipartisan bill introduced last Tuesday by 50 Republicans and 50 Democrats that got widespread support, including the president. The president said, let's do this, let's make this law. So he's urging his Republicans to get up, and he's urging Democrats to get it passed. This is incredibly great news. How would it work, and where would it work, and how it would be done? We have a timeline. I've gone over that timeline. That timeline's October 1st. So you would need the bill to be signed by October 1st. What would be the timeline for this? Well, that's quite fascinating. By eviction moratorium or mortgage forbearance, the day that the president signs into law, it would be effective that date. Rent aid is different. It would take some time for you to actually get the rent. So what does this mean? Well, I've been detailing over the last couple of days, only you will hear this on this channel, that October 1st appears to be a deadline. And if that deadline does come to fruition, you could have an eviction moratorium and mortgage forbearance more comprehensive than we currently have by October 1st. The October 1st deadline, triggered by the airlines, calls for a need to give airline bailouts by that date, or the airlines go under. So if that deadline is stayed to a crisp and really gone to the finish line with an October 1st deadline, you would see the president actually sign the law in the White House on October 1st. It's important to understand, what does that mean for you? The day the president signs an eviction moratorium and mortgage forbearance bill, like the Problem Solvers bill, into law, it means it becomes effective that date for you. So despite whatever's happened with evictions and mortgages on a state level, on a city level, in the prior bill, in the CDC order, all that other stuff we've been talking about, if this one's more restrictive, which it is, it would become a law exactly that day. So you would have the protections starting that day, October 1st, if that is what happens. All right, so then how about the rent aid? How soon will you see the rent? That's going to take time. I'm not going to sugarcoat it because it's government agencies. They would have to set up the agency, and the agency would have to get the money, and then they would have to receive your application, and then they would have to approve your application, then they'd send out your money. This is a normal federal agency application grant system. They're not 1-week turnarounds. They're not 2-week turnarounds. The point is that you wouldn't have to worry about how slowly it's progressing in those couple weeks, because you would have an eviction moratorium in place and you have a mortgage forbearance in place. You wouldn't have to worry about, oh, they're moving so slow on my application. No concern, because it's in place. This is incredible relief, because you need this relief, because as we go into the pandemic and when the pandemic increases, you have more financial uncertainty going forward. Here's the reason why the purple power needs to ramp up today, because the situation is turning to the negative economically right away. You need to be on Twitter and social media. You need to be tagging your politicians, tagging the problem solvers, tagging the blue dogs, tagging the new age Democrats. You need to be using the hashtag Purple Power. You need to be searching for other people that are part of this community, posting tweets as well with the hashtag Purple Power, all one word. All one word, Purple Power. See theirs and retweet it. Follow them. Become part of the community, because by that way, we increase the growth and direction in addressing these people. These people see your messages. Unless you have a Twitter account the size of the Temple of Doom, over several millions of people, then if you have a Twitter account in the hundreds of thousands of people, they see your tweets. They will see 500, 400, 1,000 tweets in a day. And so they will see, oh my God, there's that thing again. They see it. And they see your support. It's also important, to provide the support for the Republicans and Democrats who are coming out to vote and want to vote, because ultimately they need to feel that they are doing the right thing, which they are, in the landscape of an environment in which people have been very negative toward them, like the Temple of Doom. So they need to know that they have the American people, us, you, in favor of them and backing them. It's all that important. Let me turn to the economic data, which is not good. This is also a reason why they're trying to get this to a vote. Bruce Van Saun, CEO of Citizens Financial Group, said that customers are still pretty flush more than 6 weeks after the CARES Act, and that there's a decent amount of liquidity from stimulus. However, he's worried that this is not going to hold up. I think the economy has held up given all these stimulus we've seen from the government and the Fed, but some of the benefits of the stimulus will start to wane. So far, the economy has been resilient to the lapsing of the CARES Act unemployment benefits, says Jerome Powell, head of the Federal Reserve. But there's certainly a risk for those who are unemployed and appear to have saved some of those benefits, and now they're spending them. As the months pass, if there's no follow-up on it, there's no additional support, and there isn't a job for those people who are in those industries, it's going to be very hard to find new work. It's going to show up in economic activity. And it'll also show up in things like evictions and foreclosures, things that will scar and damage the economy. You can have the real estate market collapse, but it's going to collapse. No stimulus means people will be evicted. And evicted people means landlords lose their buildings because they have no money to pay their mortgage, because they got no income from their tenants who had to skip and leave or were evicted. And no money for landlords to pay their mortgage means that we'll be foreclosed upon. Then banks will have all these properties which they don't want to have, and banks will become illiquid, banks will go under, and real estate will collapse. And when you have a collapse of the real estate market, which is one of the prongs of the U.S. economy, everything gets very, very bad. And this is as we're going into a fall in which the situation, as I get to Effler's comment in a second, that the people have been waiting for months, it's too long for the politicians, some 222 comments from yesterday's video, is that, the pandemic's going to hit real hard in a couple of weeks. In England, they're about to go back on lockdown. In France and Spain, ICU numbers are at full capacity in hospitals. They're seeing massive rise of COVID, and they're not at cold weather yet. And that's going to hit us as well. So Alfred Todd had a comment. Boy, I was not far off, but when I said Christmas is coming, Downcastle, we expect to hear a deluge of letters from the president in the middle of October taking credit for stimulus checks. Jackie Wakefield, both parties involved should be voted out. Brandon Howell, they all need to be fired. Andreas, LA, you're assuming they're going to agree upon the bill to be put it in, just like they did with the post office. Vote all incumbents out. I don't assume anything. I say on a daily basis. We are presuming, first of all, that the airlines don't do a standalone bill by executive order, which is absolutely catastrophically horrible. We're presuming that no one, these politicians are lying to us once again. I say these full disclaimers every single day. Sheila Portman, God bless everyone on the West Coast and the South with all the storms and damage. Amen. Pink Bride, LATE. FYI, some chick's trying to clown. Don't worry about her. I saw that chick. I was wacko. Evelyn Davis, the American people have suffered enough. The politicians need to step up and do the right thing for the American people. Amen. Denny Johnson, I've been helping people around my neighborhood and family for everything that I've heard from all your shows and every way you've informed us. Keep up the positive vibes going on. People don't give up. We make things work together as we stand united together, divided as we fall. Amen. Michelle Fank, why doesn't everyone wait till the last minute when everything is Why does everyone wait till the last minute when everything falls apart? It's a great point. When I was recording back in July, I had said that when the economic data comes out in August, that if it's good, the Republicans will say it's great, and if it's bad, the Republicans will say it's good. Ironically, we're now in a situation in which Republicans are just all saying we need stimulus no matter what, with the exception of that small group of wacko Republicans who say, you're unemployed, that's your own problem. Yeah, they're a little crazy. Lois Burns, we will see it. Tyrone, they're still out here. Denny Johnson, because you are the best at what you do, it's because you're being our advocate. No, someone has to fight for you. I don't just read stories. I've been fighting for viewers to get money for this channel since day one, getting viewers for the channel between $5 to $25 million in money they were not gotten but for this channel. I don't just sit here and report news. I don't sit here and screen grab news articles and put them on the screen and just do voiceover overlays as a faux anchor. No, that's not what I'm doing here. I'm fighting for you to get every single penny you need down and up, and I've been doing it from day one, and people would like to tell you something confusing, but I'm always trying to clarify it for you, make it easy. MMA, yes, I greatly need it because I know my little landlord, I owed $1,500. I had to move in the middle of the pandemic. My lease is up. My new landlord only paid half. I'm struggling to get the $600 a month. Manaya, hang in there, everyone. Amen. Jackie, second. JC, I don't fly, I don't care. Tamara, I had dinner, I'm late. Lisa, happy afternoon, LALATE. Happy Sunday, and remember Sunday's fun day. Susan, good question from Susan. Do they eventually make you pay the rent? Yes, you're never forgiven for paying the rent. Eviction moratorium does not forgive you from paying the rent. Or do they just give you money for your rent? Sorry, I've never been in this situation. They do give you money for the rent. So the way it works, for example, is they might give you 4 months of rent, but, you know, let's say this passes, let's give an example. Let's say it passes in, October, and you get the money in late October, and it gives you let's say it gives you 2 months of rent. Okay, so then in October you get 2 months of rent, but you still haven't paid 2 months of rent, so you're back behind. That doesn't forgive those 2 months of rent. It's just giving you money for certain respective months, so you have to come up with the remainder of it. It's unclear how many months of rent they're going to give you. You know, these politicians never go into incredible detail, like you should know that. How many months of rent does this bill give me? How much rent? Is there a cap on the amount of rent in the bill? These type of things they never tell us, as though they're irrelevant. They're very important. Emoji Kepler, let the Congress and Senate know we don't have our stimulus checks. We're going to be voted out. Amen. If you have questions to today's video, drop them in the comments below. This is a great day of incredible, great news across the board. Morning's LALATE video was the most watched ever of this channel in the first few hours. So thank you for being part of this community. If you're not yet, go to Let's Fund This channel and subscribe. Also like this video because it's been a really good video. Hit that thumb on the front of this below this video. Coming up next is Evenings LALATE with a 1 hour special. First the check and then Purple Power. As always, stay informed, stay smiling, and stay LA for more.